Last week in the Highline Racing League, only 3 1,000ths of a second separated our top two drivers in not only that race in Richmond, but now those top two drivers lead the point standings. Alan Kunman able to surge his way up to second in the championship, while DJ Stagner finds himself at the front of the championship pylon as he takes his second podium of the season. Kunman, with his first win, has all the momentum with his new team, Queen City Racing, as more than 30 drivers take on the biggest non-superspeedway track of the season, the 2.5-mile racing circuit, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway in Speedway, Indiana. Perhaps best known as America's Cathedral for Speed for over a century now, the Highline Racing League at long last returns to the hallowed grounds in Indiana. Welcome back to our fourth race of the Highline Racing League ASC Services and Supply Premier Series. I'll be your host for tonight's event. I'm David Kreutz, commentating and producing. We're about to get to business now with 2 minutes and 20 seconds left on the clock in qualifying and a litany of drivers getting ready to roll. Caleb Morrissey finding himself on the provisional pole position. He's at the top of the board now with a quick time over his teammates, among many, Scott Wheeler. There is Chad Winstead, the number 60 car right now, fifth on the board. Tom Bourne in the number 96. We've got ourselves a big field looking to go at it. Bronson Stafford, the number 61, going up to P1. Again, Stafford, by all accounts, should have had a shot at leading at least one lap last week. He ended up as our pole sitter, but Alan Kunman led every lap, all 150 at the Richmond Raceway. Stafford not able to get a peep, even though he found himself as the leading man to start. Scott Zellner on the way, while Kunman sits again in second, where he qualified last night. 0.07 of a second off the top mark. Caleb Morrissey P3, but he'll be usurped by Roberto Ramirez. There's the number 42 for Toyota Racing Development. Ramirez gets up to the top of the charts on his first lap. That's a 52.304 for Ramirez, and that is his best qualifying effort so far this season. Let's see how long it sticks. A minute and 9 seconds left on the clock. 24 drivers have taken a time. Colton Gardner in the number 40. Stadium Scene TV branding and all is bringing on a new paint scheme for his Ford Mustang. Justin Baxter also on the way. He's 23rd as he comes across the line for the final time. Baxter going to pull it in, not able to improve that time. We're waiting on Dylan Potey, Curtis Granger, Jim Font, Ty Smith, Sean Billman, and Jacob Holm with less than a minute left on the board here. Ramirez is still at the top, and it looks like nobody left to challenge him. Jimmy McKee no longer on the way. Potey just trying to get around for his second and final lap. His first one not validated. He's got 21 seconds to make it through. Now he's coming down the start-finish line. This time through, Potey, it's his one and only shot out of turn 4, into the front straightaway, and to the start-finish line. Potey, 52.572, goes 13th. He'll get a time on the board, but it will not be enough to clock in the top 5. Roberto Ramirez maintains that leading position. His qualifying time sits above all else for his first pole of the season. Ramirez with a 52.304. That's the pole. Top of the board, Roberto Ramirez from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway will lead him through for 70 laps of green flag racing. Bronson Stafford, second consecutive time around on the front row. Alan Kunman, he'll take third, and so he'll be one position back on where he started last night. iRacing official pace car getting ready to work, and of course the field right behind him. Overall, 31 drivers registered for today's race. 27 of which able to take at least one official lap in qualifying. Let's get to know that field from top to bottom, beginning with the man up in front. Roberto Ramirez gets his best time on the board this season. Ramirez starting first, and beside him will be Bronson Stafford in the number 61. Those will be your two drivers on the front row. Last week's winner, Alan Kunman, lines up P3, and it'll be Caleb Morrissey, the Jonestown Jet, qualifying fourth tonight, as there's your pole sitter in the 42 in the flesh. That is Ramirez in the Toyota Camry. Tom Bourne wraps up the top 5. Adam Bozzi, P6. Matt Muir and Scott Zellner go 7th and 8th, with Scott Wheeler and Chad Winstead wrapping up the top 10. So you got 3 of the 4 horsemen right there at the front of the field. The only one of them outside of the top 10 will be in the rest of the top 20. 11th place is Jody Chapman with Matthew Rodriguez 12th, Dylan Poteet in 13th, and Jimmy McKee 14th place. 15th on the spot, it's going to be 16th. DJ Stagner. Ryan Potter is the number 99 team right there in 16th place. Robert Kenny, Terry Brooks, that's 17th and 18th, with Dawson Buchanan and Nicholas Blackerby 19th and 20th on the day. McKee, the final of the 4 horsemen, while his teammates sit just a few spots ahead. 21st down to 30th include the following in Dylan Wedgwood, Kenny Brooks, Sean Billman, then Justin Baxter, Toby Wedgwood, Josh Christman, Colton Gardner, the last man to take a time, and the 31st driver will be the final of which. So we'll get right there. Curtis Granger goes 28th, Jim Fott 29th, Ty Smith in 30th. And your last driver on the starting grid is Jacob Hom for Queen City Racing in the number 44. He is the last of which, and it's about time that we get the ball rolling. 31 drivers and 16 rows ready to go to work from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Roberto Ramirez, with his first pole position of the year, leads them off in style. Roberto making his way down the back straightaway. And conditions tonight should be in the favor of the field. 84 degrees track temperature and relative humidity of about 24%, with winds northeast bound and mild at that. The big kicker is going to be an 107 degree track temperature, which is warm, but with the humidity not backing it up, it'll be a drier condition that won't have these drivers slipping around. For Ramirez, he's done very well at these 2-mile circuits, 2-mile and up circuits. One of his best finishes in season 16 coming at the Michigan International Speedway. He's a multi-time race winner with some intermediate prowess as well, winning the season 14 finale. And that was at the helm when it was the final races of the next-gen era. Ever since that point, Ramirez has not gone dry when it comes to victories. However, he is best with the road courses, and that has been his forte. With Lucas Lodato coming into the field, he's had himself a wild ride with the road courses. Ramirez, not as much. Maybe tonight, redemption and another new winner on the calendar. Alan Kunman was able to get his by 3/1000ths of a second last week. Now's the time to see whether or not Ramirez can back it up, or if Bronson Stafford can avenge not leading a lap from the pole last week. It's Ramirez on the pole position this time by as we grab a gear and get to green. Welcome to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. For 70 racing laps, we are underway from the Brickyard. Ramirez leads the opening lap, but not without some competition for second and third place. Stafford up high, Caleb Morrissey down low, and so it begins with a Channel Lock Chevrolet down to the inside. 2 laps in out of 70. Caleb Morrissey dropping to that bottom groove with a little bit of assistance now from Alan Kunman. Hitting speeds of an excess of 185 miles an hour. We won't be seeing that 200 tip be reached. Although it's as long as Daytona is, it's not nearly as fast. You're not on the pedal the whole time. Daytona International Speedway with banking of about 30 degrees. You're going to be seeing just about half of that at this circuit. 2.5 miles, however, still going to be quick down those long straightaways that encompass about a mile apiece. Scott Wheeler on that outside groove. Looking just behind him, Chad Winstead in the number 60, Joey Chapman, the number 98, one spot back. It's all about those individual positions now. Not a lot of drivers going more than side by side. 3 wide has not at all entered the conversation. Terry Brooks to the inside now on Robert Kenny. Ramirez leading these opening laps. And Caleb able to wrestle from Alan Kunman that second spot. Bronson Stafford falling back into the 4th position. Tom Bourne for 5th. Bourne burst onto the scene, and I'll tell you this much, that was the anticipation to see more of him after Daytona. He had a remarkable opening run, took it to 2nd place, and his qualifying efforts have been indicative of that again. However, so far, the racing results have not gone his way. Bourne, as it stands, he finds himself 5th on the ladder, but his racing performances the past 2 weeks just have not been the results he's wanted. Qualifying in the top 10 week after week is one thing, but now getting back up to that racing position where he would like to be is a completely different task. And I think, unfortunately for Tom, that has been the big struggle. Richmond, in some part, is a little bit more difficult than other tracks in being so successful just because of how close every driver was and how easy it was to get involved with big damage and the big wrecks we had later in the race. We had more than 12 cautions, and we went to a green-white checkered finish, which ended up seeing that side-by-side beating and banging finale with Alan Kunman and DJ Stagner right at each other. Bourne was far out of the conversation before that point. Ramirez, first to first. 5 laps in at a 70 on the day. Ryan Potter further back. Some of the swamp guys not starting where they'd like to. Ryan, as it stands, actually leads all the swamp boys because DJ Stagner, contact is Joey Chapman down the track and hard. The 98 Toyota Camry to the inside of the circuit, and he watches back up, cautions out. Chapman with the first incident of the day. Yellow flag flies, and a nasty hit for the number 98 of Joey Chapman. And watch what happens here for Chapman's crew as he found himself alongside Ryan Potter. He was on the outside, and it looks like as he was trying to go through, was not clear, made contact, and Ryan shoots him down. The 98.9 and the 98 collecting one another. The caution is out. Joey Chapman, the biggest involved, and so he's got the most damage of them all. Caution flies. 29th place now is where he'll lie as Caleb Morrissey takes the race lead from Roberto Ramirez. Ramirez now running 2nd according to timing and scoring. Let's see if that's official. Six laps in at a 70. Alan Kunman 3rd for 3rd. Bronson Stafford 2nd down to 4th. Tom Bourne maintains in the top 5. The biggest mover of the top 10 so far has been Jimmy McKee. And so now you've got all the Flying Scotsmen who have been at least up front at one point. Scott Zellner right now the only exception. Zellner, one of the guys who had to serve an end-of-line penalty, so that's why he's in 25th place and coming from the back of the field on up. Had a few penalties to serve based on last week. Richmond was a little bit chaotic, had to hand those out and make sure everyone was well aware of what had to be done. Simply put, can't get away scot-free from all the cautions we had last week. Ryan Potter, Scott Wheeler, they served their end-of-line penalties last week. It is Scott Zellner, the only driver who had to get sent to the back of the field. So, while the rest of those guys up in front maintain, and they've got themselves in the top 10 as teammates, it's all about now Scott Zellner, who has to make his way back up there. 6 laps into the 70. Caleb Morrissey, 4th up to 1st. He is your leader with 2 laps to green. We will go back at it at lap number 9, it appears. Ryan Potter behind his teammate in Stagner. DJ just able to get ahead of him before everyone went down to pit road. And by everyone, we mean the guys in the back. There's Kenny Brooks. There's Justin Baxter and Sean Billman in the 06. 7 laps in, he is 28th. Additionally, of course, Joey Chapman has to get the damage repaired, and Colton Gardner is going to decide to make it through. Chapman's the final driver on pit road now, and so that means only about 5 or 6 drivers chose to come down. New sponsor on the hood, Smitty's, for that number 6. And it looks like a few rotating sponsors coming on for Caleb Morrissey, getting some good TV time once again. Smitty's in Pine Grove, Pennsylvania. And the hood is a little hard to read from here, but another brand new sponsor for the Channel Lock Ford, and they've got themselves the perfect advertising space. You can even read that phone number. How about that? Welding and fabrication, Smitty's in Pine Grove, PA. And that is as clear as it comes. Now, a lot of these drivers running more racing-style paint schemes. 8 of Alan Kunman, the 42 of Ramirez with real-world sponsors. But some of these guys in the sim racing world, they've got their backing, and they've got guys who are looking out for them from the virtual garage. And that's cool to see up in front. Although a lot of these guys, for the most part, run about the same scheme week after week. It looks like Morrissey, who did that for the most part as well, started changing it up. Curtis Granger. Sirius Satellite Radio in the number 77. Granger coming back on what has been a full-time basis so far. Good to see him. He came alongside Jackson Hartman to start the season. Seeing Hartman now, once again, he's been on and off for the past few years. Maybe going to see more of Curtis, and that's something we would love to have. One of the veterans and one of the strongest vets at that down the line. Inside goes Curtis Granger. And down low, indeed, goes your leader. Caleb Morrissey opts to take the bottom. He's got himself on the inner groove, and it looks like that's going to be the advantageous place to start for our first restart of the night. 9 laps in out of 70. And here's how it's going to go from here. Any caution after lap number 65 will send us to overtime. That's not going to be a concern right now. We have something interesting to add. We don't have as many extra tire sets as we usually do. We only have 2 available to drivers all night long, which means that they're going to have to go about strategy a little bit differently than what we've seen at most of these other races. Usually give drivers 3 extra sets of tire. Tonight, 1 of them is being taken away. What will these drivers do with that in mind? It's all up to them, but I'd be hard-pressed to say they're going to race the same. Maybe you're going to have to be a little bit more resourceful. I can't imagine that a guy like Caleb Morrissey wouldn't know how to stretch it. That's one thing. His last big victories coming 2 seasons ago. He had a run which was the intermediates where he showed out in Chicagoland, won the week after that, and it was just about that alternate strategy where he got there. And of course, he's rather aggressive. Morrissey's alternate strategy is pushing 100% even when he can't push any longer. Last time Alan Kunman sat on the front row on the outside, he took the field by storm and never looked back. He led 150 of 150 laps last night when we went racing that previous Thursday. Now it's no longer Richmond, but it is another circuit where Kunman can shine. Let's see what he does this time through. It's going to be Caleb Morrissey on the bottom, Alan Kunman up top, toe-to-toe, advantage Morrissey. Green flags out, we're on our way. It's Caleb Morrissey to the points. Caleb gets the drop on the field. Alan Kunman just has to sit in line and tow. And so begins another strong run for both Morrissey and Alan Kunman. Kunman, of course, looking for what could be 2 consecutive wins and a chance for his record-breaking 3rd title. There's DJ Stagner. And he's eyeing a shot to get up there in the mix with Scott Wheeler. Now watch what happens here for the Swamp Motorsport guys. I mean, some of them further back than they would like to be. So far, Stagner's been led most often by Ryan Potter, which is not at all usually the case, but in this instance tonight, you have seen Potter staying toe-to-toe, if not being outright ahead of his veteran champion teammate. DJ right now is about a car length ahead diagonally, but it hasn't been that big of a spread to this point. So I'd be hard-pressed to say that's a huge, substantial difference that will mean much as the night goes on. Caleb Morrissey and Alan Kunman, 0.2 of a second off of each other. Advantage is still Morrissey. Tom Bourne, the number 96, he's a second and then some off. Tom finding himself 5th to 5th right now. 6th place is going to be Matthew Rodriguez. Matthew is up 6 places and currently is the biggest mover inside the top 10. With half a dozen places gained, Matthew Rodriguez is on the hunt. And it looks like he's going for another one. Watch this. He weaved down to the bottom, couldn't quite get it. Fakes it and heads back up high. Back in a single file tow, you got the 42 Ramirez here who washes up. Just like that, Rodriguez for the spot. Matthew, strong as ever again tonight, perhaps. He can go for another great run. Last week in Richmond, working out to get into that single-digit category. And Tom Bourne, the next driver he's due to chase. The rookie and Bourne up into 4th. Now, rookie championship standings are still unfolding, and as it stands, it's between Bourne and Bronson Stafford for the most part. Those are the drivers who are really going at each other for the Rookie of the Year award. Now, they're both running inside the top 5. I mean, you got Stafford, who might be able to go for second here. Watch out with Alan Kunman taking the lead from Morrissey. It might be double trouble. Stafford to the inside. And as Bronson goes there, he's got it made, just not clear yet. Oh, Caleb Morrissey wiggles up the track and down goes Stafford. Huge contact with Matthew Rodriguez and a chain reaction of horrible proportion. Stafford uncontrollably up the track. Luckily, Ty Smith doesn't hit. Caleb Morrissey with damage as well. Caution's out. Morrissey got loose. That is how it began. So watch this. Tom Bourne gets away. Stafford's night all but done. Take a look one more time. And Morrissey in the wall, overcorrects, goes up, hits the wall, and ricochets back down. And so quickly, Morrissey gets in the wall, and he's able to avoid the worst of it, while Stafford is sent ringing down to the bottom of the track. Matthew Rodriguez also with a huge hit on the right front. And luckily, the rest of the field able to swerve away. At the very last moment, Ty Smith did so. Take a ride aboard with the number 18 as he gets very lucky. And you can see here, looks like a clean path, and then Bourne and Stafford right there. Stafford particularly up and up, and Ty breaks through. Second caution of the day, 13 laps in out of 70. And so it begins. Cautions perhaps breeding cautions. Caleb Morrissey with no choice but to come down and in this time by. He will bring with him Matthew Rodriguez. He's in the 0-1, of course. And after them, DJ Stagner opting to do something different. And DJ starting his strategy shift. Not too far behind them. Got one more driver coming in. While a litany of others stay out, very few are able to keep up with the strategy of Stagner and company. Looks like it's less than a half and half split. The majority of the field stays on the racing circuit. Looking at Joey Chapman right now. He's going for additional damage repair. And this yellow flag is going to be his saving grace. If he wants to get back up in front, this is what he'll need. Caleb Morrissey coming into this race 6th in the championship standing, so he's had a good opening start of this campaign. 29 points back on title leader DJ Stagner. He would hate to lose points today, lose critical ones at that, but it does indeed appear that he's going to, at least for now, fall behind. DJ Stagner with 133 points leads a championship race. He is 21 up on your new second place man, Alan Kunman. Interestingly, though, it is Alan who leads the field again, and he is looking for what could be back-to-back wins. Back-to-back wins are usually a good indicator that a driver can go out there and win the championship in the Highline Racing League. Doesn't come often, doesn't come easy, but our last title winner, of course, it was Lucas Lozano, back-to-back wins, an embodying trait of that Swamp Motorsport crew and what they were able to do, winning anywhere at any time. Allen, last time we saw him as a champion, well, he was able to get a title off of 2 victories, and that was season 15. He did so notably with that big win at Pocono, which put him over the hill, and it was a late race surge that got him to the checkered flag. He's not a driver who relies on the overly flashy, and even as a part-time guy, he's been winning races, but 2 consecutive wins is something we haven't seen out of Allen in a very long time. He does it. By all accounts, that might put him up there as that championship favorite. Now, had DJ won last week in Richmond, I think we would have been looking at the situation differently. That's a difference of 3 1/1000ths of a second that changes the entire narrative. A reminder that Alan Kunman led every single second of that race after qualifying. He did not skip a beat. And yet he almost lost. Only lap that matters when it comes to winning a race is the final lap, and every driver knows it. They want to win, they better act on it. Coming to lap number 16 out of 70, it's going to be Alan Kunman and Tom Bourne, your new front row. Bourne up to the head of the field, and while Caleb Morrissey has fallen back, you now have 3 of the 4 horsemen in the top 11. Scott Wheeler finding himself in 4th. You'll then have Jimmy McKee, 14th up to 6th. And Scott Zellner, after that end-of-line penalty to start the race, is up to the race high for the number 2 team. That is 11th, after qualifying 8th. So perhaps, at the very least, we could see Scott Zellner at the head of the field in a single-digit conversation. The majority of the top 10 is the same as it was to start. The only exceptions are 11th place in Zellner and Caleb Morrissey, as well as just behind Bronson Stafford. Grabbing a gear, Alan Kunman in number 8. Ready to get things moving again for our 3rd restart of the night. They gave Allen the keys. Last time that happened, it went pretty well for him. He's back on top. Bourne, Ramirez, Wheeler, McKee, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as they run. Ramirez in the 42, dropping to the inside as quickly as he can. Alan Kunman doing so with more extremity as he tries to keep Tom Bourne at bay. Bourne right now the number 96, 5th up to 2nd. Watch what happens as he continues to chase. Tom right now in the highest spot he's been in all throughout this race, and of course, this is his best ever career finishing position. Bourne has gone as high as it's gone, besides a victory, and now he'd like to change that. Alan Kunman looks to break the draft time and again. He is now going all out to do so, and it's interesting that he's doing that lap number 17 and not lap 70. But here comes Bourne. Tom gets the inside. He's got the room. It's door-to-door now between the 96 and the 8. Tom trucking down on the inside. Oh, contact! Big wiggle from Alan Kunman. How did he save that? At over 170 miles an hour, Alan Kunman with a death wobble. And he shot Tom Bourne down, shot Scott Wheeler high. Everyone gets away from it somehow. Now that is remarkable. The 42, of course, further back and watching, but I'm sure he must have thought for a moment the field ahead of him was due to crumble. And luckily, it did not. Watch what happens here for Tom Bourne as he tries to get himself back in better spirits to go chasing Kunman. Allen was able to not only defend that, but keep the race lead while getting shaken up, and that is very impressive. Scott Wheeler is looking for a victory that is seasons and years due. It has been a long time since we've seen him back in victory lane. You'd have to go back to the summer of 2023 to remember exactly when that last happened, and that is a huge shock for a multi-time champion. Remember, he's tied with the most in league history with 2 championships, and he won them back-to-back. Coming into season 15 and about midway through that season, he was the favorite to go for his 3rd straight. Just didn't turn out to be that way, but he runs second now as Tom Bourne chooses not to entertain himself by going up and down the track with the draft. Wheeler maybe was immediately poised to be the first man to break that 3 championship threshold, and to do it in consecutive fashion would have been history. There have been drivers who have had the chance to go for 2 straight titles, but very few are put in that position where they can successfully vie for 3. It was Alan Kunman who won in season 15, which snapped that streak. And if you look at it now, shades of that very season, it is Wheeler chasing Kunman all over again. Take a look on board. Alan Kunman maintains through turns 1 and 2. Roberto Ramirez dropping back a little bit more now as 4 Horsemen is on the rise. Watch for the number 9 of Jimmy McKee, and moreover, you've got a few other groups now trying to make their way up to the head of the pack. While Tyler Hampton and Hoosier Buckeye Racing is not fully representative, you got to look at all these other groups that are getting into the head of the field and that conversation at the same time. Queen City Racing has Adam Bazzi in 7th and Chad Winstead in the number 60, running in 10th. Southern Indiana, the Southern Indiana Speedworks group. That's a 3-car enterprise. They're led by Dylan Wedgwood right now in 15th. And of course, you'll have some of the big guys like Hula Monkey Motorsports. Their voice chat is not active tonight, but they're definitely on the circuit. Contact! Wedgwood, Potter, 3 wide. There goes Dylan Pote. And speaking of, yeah, that's Dylan Pote, all right. One of the Hula Monkey guys now. After some team acquisitions and major change-ups, Dylan has made his way into the picture with a different scene of drivers. And some veteran talents being reacquired over the course of this offseason has really shaken things up. Alan Kunman racing with Queen City and McKee racing with 4 Horsemen. That's an example of 2 guys who used to work with each other on a season-by-season basis, and now they got different manufacturers from each other. They're on different teams, and they got different other drivers that they're going to have to deal with in different ways. Right now, Jimmy's got a teammate up in front. Alan leads the QCR guys, and Queen City Racing getting a big one in Alan Kunman after losing a big one in Lucas Lodato. Now keep that in mind. Lodato went over to the Swamp Motorsport boys for last season, season 18, and that's where he ended up coming alive for what was, of course, his best season ever, Lucas. Lucas gave way for victory in that championship run with 4 wins overall, DJ Stagner was the next closest driver on his team. It was Scott Zellner who came second overall in the championship. Watch this man head to the inside. It's Zellner, and he's trying to break into the single digits for the first time today. Watch what happens now. It is Scott Zellner looking low. Robert Kenny up high in the SimSpeed Shop equipment. It's Robert's second race of the season. Zellner will cut him no slack. Here comes Terry Brooks. 2x2 down the line. Dawson Buchanan also in the equation. Terry right now, just at Dawson's inside, able to make the pass. Scott Zellner, fast crossover on Robert Kenny, gets high on him, and Robert gets boxed in. Can't go back because Terry Brooks will back him up. And likewise, Zellner quickly pushes in. And the level of aggression out of Scott Zellner, well, I wouldn't say it's anything overbearing, but you can tell that he is not a man with time to waste. Lap in, lap out, Scott is pushing, trying to gain some time to get up to those teammates. Wheeler in third place here, watching a side-by-side fight for the lead. The rookie, Tom Bourne, that time by a little lap, but he'll go way high. Misses turn one entirely, now has to put it together again. Oh, that's tricky. Watch as Wheeler comes by, and it's double trouble. The 97 side-by-side with the 96, and it's contact. And what was little more than a clink coming into turn one, shot Bourne way high. I mean, that is an abject failure on the way through. Luckily, anyway, for Tom Bourne, he gets through with minimal damage. The 9 of Jimmy McKee, 14th up to 4th. Watch what happens here. He runs side by side no longer, but he might be able to take his teammate up in front of Bourne. It's contact, and this is the four horsemen in action. McKee shooting Wheeler out with a nudge, and he'll go clear. Tom Bourne falls to third with that example of prime teamwork, and the Queen City Racing guys might bunch up a little bit more now as Adam Bozzi gets the inside on Roberto Ramirez. Just like that. It is QCR looking for twin top fives. If Roberto Ramirez gets past now, it could be his big loss to drop out. Meanwhile, Matt Muir going to help out with Ramirez retaining 5th place. The battle is not always head-to-head, one-on-one. You've got to consider the drivers around you because those most often will be the big difference makers. For the time being, it looks like it's going to be that multi-car assistance that really does pay off in dividends. Adam Bozzi not getting much help means he's going to stick in 6th. All the while, Tom Bourne fades back. Roberto Ramirez goes up high, and it's going to be 2nd and maybe 3rd if McKee and Wheeler can work it out. Scott Wheeler with what appears to be some internet troubles. He's still there. Contact Tom Bourne down the track. And Wheeler for a brief moment disappearing, but that was a network problem. It looks like still he's got his number 9 right behind him. And now Swamp is far out of the podium. QCR only has 1, but the 4 horsemen make up 2 of your top 3 spots. And top 3 drivers. How about that? So some early domination for one team. We're coming up closer to the halfway marker, which is lap number 35, and here's one good thing to know when it comes to each and every driver here. Fuel is not of a concern. It looks like everyone's going to make that magic number, that lap number 35 mark, and they're going to go the rest of the way without an issue. What's going to happen from there is the big question mark, and it's highly likely that we're going to see drivers coming in after halfway trying to stretch the issue. If that's the case, the undercut might become the most popular oppository strategy. Meaning we might see some drivers come in lap 35 on the dot. But the question becomes, if you can stretch your fuel, why don't you? The issue is, how long can you stretch it? If you're at the front of the field, you're likely a lot more aggressive. The draft is part of the equation, but it isn't everything. So there is no guarantee you're going to be able to go longer than 35 laps, at least yet. It's on a driver-by-driver basis. Are you clutching? Are you coasting? Or are you pushing to take these spots right now? That determines the length of the run, and then it becomes a question of how you use your tires. Rubber is the biggest variable tonight because we only have 2 extra sets available. You can come down to pit road whenever for fuel. That's not going to be a concern, but we only have 2 sets of tire left. So, how do you choose to use them? Whether or not you choose to use them early, or if some of these guys have done it, and yes they have, go down to pit road and get the tires under caution, and then use the final stint to end it under green, that's also an option. But I think right now that the goal is going to be run this fuel load out so you have the newest rubber to finish the job. I think that's going to be the popular take of them all. There is Alan Kunman, who is now more than a second out and looking for what could be win number 2 the last 2 weeks. Unbelievable to think about it. Kunman is already breaking out, and he's got himself a lead over the rest of the field that is bigger than any other gap any other driver has had tonight. Somehow, he has gotten through from the pack and has clean air all on his own. Scott Wheeler leads the best of the rest race right here with Jimmy McKee, his teammate, and Adam Bozzi, Allen's teammate, making it a 4-horseman sandwich with QCR on the top and the bottom. Tom Bourne would like to change that as we look behind at number 96. Tom tries up high, and it looks like it's going to be more than just a passing attempt. He's got himself a good run, gets up to Scott Wheeler, and Wheeler stalls out. Here comes Adam Bozzi now, taking the spot for the 97. McKee up to second, Adam Bozzi up to third, and Scott Wheeler has to settle outside of the podium at least for the time being. Look who's on his way. Scott Zellner. Zellner in the number 2, now occupying his highest spot of the night, which is where he qualified in 8th. At the line, he might be able to take 7th place. He's that close. It's within a few thousandths of a second, and at the line, oh, so close. Scott Zellner only 6/100ths off. He's close as it gets. Not nearly enough, however, and so now, 31 laps in out of 70. The goal is just to be going up from here. Zellner touching 8th, but he only just clips that marker. Now he's looking to show and improve with contact from Robert Kenny. Robert's going to send that number 2 car deep. And Scott Zellner takes it to the inside of the racing circuit and skates up high. Tom Bourne, 5th to 5th. Scott Wheeler, 9th up to 4th. And then Adam Bozzi, 6th to P3. The question becomes here, as everyone else skates around and gets themselves ready for what's to come, who sets the tone? Does your leader, Alan Kunman, have that leading opportunity? Not only in track position, but when it comes to pit road? Or are we going to see the pack decide for Allen here? That's the one thing. Allen is far out in the way. He is about 1.7 seconds out relative to the rest of the field. And while he finds himself very clear, it also means he's not in touch with what's going on behind him. Jimmy McKee, 14th up to 2nd, has seen it from every angle. He started in the mid-pack of the field, has seen the back end, and now is up in the leading conversation. I'd be hard-pressed to say that Alan Kunman isn't the favorite, but in case someone else is to come up, I've got my eyes peeled looking at the 4 Horsemen's number 9. Their newest driver would like to get his and his first win with the new team. Tom Bourne, not one to care about old team alliances, slides to the inside of Scott Wheeler. No history for Tom Bourne coming in, only history to be made. And that's been the, contact there for the 96 and 97. It's Wheeler right alongside Bourne, and again, they nudge. This has happened at least once tonight, and Bourne, no trouble getting away from it again. Luckily, with Tom Bourne, he's seen some of the worst of it. I mean, Alan Kunman, who had the big death wobble just about 20 laps ago, shaking back and forth in a 3-wide fight for the lead, he got away, and the rest of the field's been able to follow that example pretty well. Joey Chapman, wow. We saw him in the beginning of the race careening into the inside retainer, and he is back inside the top 10. The damage has been repaired. It looks like he was able to put himself all together, and here you have it. Chapman coming to the inside on Scott Wheeler, as good as it gets. The 98, here we go. 3 wide, it's going to be Scott Wheeler and Scott Zellner, the Flying Scotsman, taking Joey Chapman for a ride. Chapman can't quite keep up there. Robert Kenny, 17th up into 8th. No difficulty for Kenny right now in maintaining the top 10. And while he was pressed on the way in by Scott Zellner, it looks like he's also been able to improve his standing and stay behind the number 2. Zellner having set the standard rather than anything else. And that's most exciting to see. No difficulties just yet for Robert Kenny, and maybe a chance for him to come away with a top 10 finish in only his 2nd race back. Kenny, off and on and off for the past better part of 2 years. Right now, he's got 2 to watch out for. Sophomore man, Sean Billman. Billman, mind you, is a lapper. And then you have Matt Muir. Muir runs in 9th. Chad Winstead is in 10th, just as he qualified. Kunman is about 1.2 seconds up now in Adam Bozzi. Adam has been able to make up time. Caution's out. Looks like we've got trouble once again. Yellow flag is out, and Kenny Brooks passes the problem. Ryan Potter involved. Yellow flag's out. Take a look at this. Now, Ryan and Dylan Wedgwood here in the mix. And this looks like it was the battle for about the 14th position. That's where Ryan stood at the time of the wreck. And coming down the back straightaway, Dylan Wedgwood coming with him. Wedgwood looks low. Potter, contact. Just like the incident with Joey Chapman, sending them both into the grass and both hit the inside retainer. Should be fixable damage based on Chapman's assessment, but the caution is out regardless. Yellow flag flies for the 3rd time today. Alan Kunman leads with Bozzi, McKee, Tom Bourne, positions 2, 3, and 4 from there. Second half of this race is on its way from this point onward, and that means that we're expecting everyone to come down to pit road this time by. Call on the field, as made by Kunman, is a resounding yes. Welcome to pit road. This is very likely going to be the one and only big stop of the night, as everyone chooses to come in as a group. No holdouts, no exceptions. If you're up front, you've got it made. Just like that, everyone coming toward our pit exit, so watch and see who makes it through. We've only got some lappers looking to get themselves back in the picture. Nicholas Blackerby and Sean Billman for 2. And there's Roberto Ramirez, one of the last drivers to come in his pole position stall. 31 drivers registered for the day. It looks like we've still got 28 racing with us. And off of pit road, it will be Alan Kunman over Adam Bozzi, Jimmy McKee, Scott Wheeler, Tom Bourne, Scott Zellner, Joey Chapman, and then to end it, Chad Winstead, Matt Muir, and Dawson Buchanan for the top 10. 34 laps to go. And there you have it. Alan Cumming, third up to first. Gets the ball rolling, and he will lead off of pit road. If you've enjoyed tonight's coverage so far, of course, check out iRacing.com, and you too can be on the broadcast you're seeing on your screen right now. That is right. iRacing Motorsport Simulations has led virtual motorsport now for more than 17 years. There is no other simulator quite like it. So make sure to check out iRacing.com and register. The summer discounts just came to a close, but the holiday season is coming up very soon. Expect some great promotions and discounts to start your sim racing career as soon as today. We'd love to have you come aboard, and very soon you could be racing live on FTN as well. Thank you for tuning in. Alan Cumming, currently your race leader. We're going to step aside briefly after a word from our friends at iRacing. We'll be right back. Stay tuned. The second half of this race is on its way after this.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Alan Cumming, fresh off of what was the longest stint of the day, leads as we come to 32 laps to go. Adam Bozzi, second. 14th to third is Jimmy McKee. And the man in the four-horseman Ford Mustang occupies the final step of the podium so far. Queen City making up two, and the first two of your top four. The four horsemen with two of their drivers making up the rest. And while Caleb Morrissey's had struggles today and finds himself one lap down, it will also be Scott Zellner for four horsemen, now running a race high in sixth. So, it looks like as a collective, that group has really put themselves together well. And they are lined up in the second and third rows, respectively. Alan Cumming looking to bring things back to green, this time by. Here we go again for restart number 3. Cumming, Bozzi, side by side. Both drivers won 2 races in season 15 and went head-to-head multiple times then. It's been 2 years since, and the fire is back. Bozzi up to P2, looking for his first win since that point. Cumming looking for his first since last week. Weaving and bobbing up the circuit early, Alan Cumming and Adam Bozzi not entertaining the idea of losing each other so quickly while it's side by side behind. Hornet's Nest hasn't been much of a Hornet's Nest today, but when it gets tight quickly. You don't see a lot of drivers going more than double file, but Indianapolis is narrow, and that's one of the things that it has that those other 2.5-mile circuits do not. Talladega will give you an opportunity to go cleanly 5 wide. Daytona will give you an opportunity to go cleanly up to 4 wide. Likewise, you see other circuits that are more wide in nature, Michigan or Auto Club. Not at all the case when you're looking at this circuit. And that, of course, is Indianapolis. Much different. Double file is the norm. Triple wide can happen, but it is sparingly so. With 31 remaining. Here comes Cumming, Bozzi, McKee, Scott Zellner, Tom Bourne, and oh, contact! Bourne, can he save it? Yes, he does. So does Scott Wheeler. Wow. About 45 degrees apart, but that's the third time they've connected. Caution's out. Was there an issue in the back of the field? It looks like there might have been. Yellow's out, and we're taking a wider look. That could have been a safety yellow for what we just saw up in front. And huge contact. So understandably, as Wheeler and Tom Bourne got into each other. And I think they shocked the entire field in that they were able to get away from that one in one piece. I mean, leaning on each other to the fullest extent. Yeah, outright contact. And you look behind him, everyone slows down. Oh, Josh Christman. That's where it happened. Christman gets turned around and put into the wall with Colton Gardner. So while an amazing save up in front, the entire field is not able to get away and avoid the wrath. Take a look at this again. We're going to go on board with the number 86 as Josh with very little place to go as the whole field checks up. Smoke billows. Josh gets tagged from the back end, and that's what sends him around. It's your fourth caution of the day. He will come in, as does Blackerby, Curtis Granger, Matthew Rodriguez, Kenny Brooks, and Toby Wedgwood, one of the last drivers to stay out with Sean Billman. Majority of your top 20 remains on the racetrack. Alan Kunman and Adam Bozzi do as well. They are set to go green with some 27 laps remaining, it appears. With this most recent of cautions, it looks like it's going to be now a perfect opportunity for Caleb Morrissey to get back on the lead lap. Morrissey, with 29 laps remaining, is going to get that first chance to get in front since the beginning, opening 10-lap stint. That, of course, being the best of which for him, then making contact in what was eventually the first big wreck of the day. Bronson Stafford retiring after contact with Morrissey, but Morrissey only caught the better part of some hard right side scrapes, and that was game over. He'll go in for more service, Caleb. Hasn't been an easy night. Most of the damage is fixed up, but it's taken him about an hour to get to this point, and he is still far from perfect. Alan Cummin, Adam Bozzi, Jimmy McKee, and Scott Zellner occupy the first four places, with Tom Bourne returning to fifth here. Again, Bourne and Scott Wheeler have made contact multiple times now, and Wheeler opting to go down to pit road after this one. And I don't know whether or not it's coincidence at this point. It appears each time that there's very little of incidental nature that could be behind it, but it has happened now more than a few times compared to what we usually see out of drivers. So it is interesting to note that between these two it's happened again. Nevertheless, the yellow is out and 28 laps remain. We will go green with 27 this time by. All eyes on Alan Cummin to bring us back to speed. Double file all the way down. 26 drivers on the lead lap. Kenny Brooks, Curtis Granger, the last ones to get there. after Caleb Morrissey. So Morrissey runs 24th. And Caleb in the best shape he's been in for the majority of the night. He's still a little bit of clipping on the right front. But this time by, we'll show you about the real pace he has. Able to hit about 180 miles an hour on his own. Backing it into the corners. In the draft, he might be able to hang on. But clean air is going to be hard for him to get since he's not at all efficient aerodynamically speaking. And if the aerodynamics aren't good, the driver will struggle more. And Indianapolis, which is not entirely reliant on raw speed, that just is what it is. One driver with an end-of-line penalty. That is Ryan Potter in the 99. Rest of the field good to go as we get back to business. Alan Cunman leading another restart. Adam Bozzi right there with. Green flags out. 27 laps to go. Already some wiggling. And luckily Roberto Ramirez, who wobbled that fast, gets it straight again. Green is out for the 4th restart of the night. Adam Bozzi here in the 2nd position, just hanging on. The 4 horsemen now trying to get by. Queen City Racing top 2 on these last restart runs, but it could change now. Zellner surging a little bit loose, but it's not going to help out Bozzi either because the only thing he can do is move out of the way. He's on the outside. Little he can do now. Side by side, right across the stripe. And meanwhile, Jimmy McKee holds fort. You got that number 2 with Zellner, who drops back again to 3rd place. It's been difficult so far for Zellner to get to this point again. He started with the end-of-line penalty that took him all the way to the back of the field, and so he's gone from the bottom of 20s, spent just about half the race getting up to the top 10, and now he's right here. 3rd, as high as he's been all night long, and still with more than 25 laps to prove he's got the stuff. "15 drivers within 2 seconds of your leader. Toby Wedgwood, the number 52, side by side. It's a family affair again. Toby and Dylan. We've seen these two go at each other quite a few times. And with Texaco cut stone on the backing of that number 52, Wedgwood, Toby Wedgwood, pulling ahead of Dylan, at least for now. Toby's got that advantage in what has been a battle of the same last name. These two drivers have been involved in a lot of trouble, though, and most often when it is trouble, it's between these two going at one another. And it looks like that has been, of course, coincidence, but odd because been incident after incident we've noted. It happened multiple times at Richmond, and the Wedgwoods were not able to escape the same levels of trouble. If one of them was in the wreck, it appeared the other would be as well. Probably coincidence for the most part, but interesting to see now as they run alongside each other. Take a look on the backside of Toby Wedgwood as he's got Dylan chasing him through. Dylan Wedgwood ricochets up high, and the yellow is out. And in a huge checkup, Dylan falls by the wayside. Watch this. And it looks like Sean Billman triggers the checkup, and Dylan gets junked. Now, I don't think he hit anyone else or made other contact, but Dylan's knee-jerk reaction sends him high and out. Oh no, contact from Baxter. That was not driver error, or at least not just Dylan's. Justin Baxter sends the number 14 high side for yellow flag 5. Watch this. Justin Baxter fully gets away from that one, but at the same time is absolutely involved. Yellow's out. Baxter and Dylan Wedgwood in that one. And that car is killed. Dylan crab walks his way in. And that's about all she wrote for the number 14 tonight. At best, Dylan is going to be scored in about 27th, it appears. And the suspension, particularly that right front, is gone. I don't think there's a chance he's going to get back on the track in the rest of the race. Alan Cummin. The leading man. And it looks like, as confidently as he took that lead in Richmond, he has replicated that energy tonight and brought it to a whole other degree. Allen is looking low, and he is not serious about that one. It would have been a shock if he was. He looks but does not live on the other side, and so he'll find himself down low. "22 laps remaining. Next time we go green, which will be at about the lap 20 marker, 20 to go, we're going to crank it up with our friends at Track Cams, of course, Whiplash Sim Cams. They've done a remarkable job with our cameras for each and every car and track throughout 2025 and beyond, and we got to thank them continuously here. There's no better place to go besides Whiplash Sim Cams, and the best reason is that you can try out their product for entirely free. Visit their Discord server and look up their social media platforms, and you'll be able to purchase trial packs, well, without a real purchase to it. Tracks like the Charlotte Motor Speedway are free and at your discretion. You can try them out and install them into your iRacing package without any financial commitment. And if you like what they have offered and you'd like to purchase more, no licensing fees necessary. Once you buy it, it is yours. $5 a piece for any car or any track package, all throughout the iRacing platform. Opportunities for any racing discipline and any circuit that you would like. So once again, a major shout out to our friends at Whiplash Sim Cams and Pit Stop TV, welcoming us into the family and helping us out with getting our cameras A+ for the year and beyond, and making the best of our coverage all throughout 2025. Roberto Ramirez a little bit further back in 12th. Last man in that dozen marker, and we'll be seeing him in the middle of the field rev those engines as we crank it up with 20 laps remaining. So that's going to be just about next time by as we cross the start-finish line. To the inner groove comes Cunman, and up high is Adam Bozzi. One to green. Allen has led 3 restarts to this point. Scott Zellner in 3rd, Tom Bourne in 4th, and Chad Winstead now P5. That's the top 5 as they roll. Matt Muir, Joey Chapman, Dawson Buchanan, and DJ Stagner are 15th up to 10th. 13th to 11th on the day is Dylan Poteet. Poteet having a silent night, all things considered. And while he's been close to the conversation, we saw him early in this race, and we saw him in the qualifying process. He hasn't really done much of anything since that point to this point anyway. Got a lot of time to change and improve, but right now, Dylan is waiting. And perhaps with this home stretch right in front of us, that's going to inspire a little bit more confidence to make the best and most important moves of the night. Alan Cummins had the confidence, and since the moment he took the lead, He has not relinquished it. Current conditions on the racing circuit relative to where we started, they're even more favorable than when we began. Track temperature was over 100 degrees Fahrenheit to begin this, but now we are looking at only 98 degrees, so with a track cooler and about the same level of humidity, grip should be higher and higher as the race has gone on. Might mean some higher speed, might mean some more aggressive racing as we go later, but hopefully it means less a risk of a caution. Green flag will fly with 20 laps to go, and with Whiplash sim cams, let's crank it up from the Brickyard. Coming leading, hear those engines roar to 1 and 2. Scott Zellner taking the race lead from Alan Cunman, and it's only a game of a few thousandths of a second. Tom Bourne now finds a way around the number 8. Oh, and so long goes that reign of dominance, and it looks like the 8 team is now seeing troubles. Bourne puts the pressure on, as does Jimmy McKee. The 4 horsemen out in front. Zellner looking for win number 23 and to continue the updates of catalog of victories that no one else has matched. Coming to 15 laps to go this time by who else but Scott Zellner to take that lead, and now from the back of the field serving an end-of-line penalty. It looks like sending it to the back, sending this team and this driver to the back has no impact on those late race results. He's the man without a doubt. Zellner finds Alan Cunman, Tom Bourne, and Jimmy McKee all the way just behind him. These drivers are going full on, and Joey Chapman has had a remarkable night. Chapman has gone from the highest of highs to the lowest of lows, as low as 29th, and even as he had big damage, he did not give up. And so, Joey finds himself running in 5th, even after significant hits. I mean, problems that we weren't expecting any other driver to come through. Of course, we saw multiple other drivers hit the inside wall, but none with the speed and intensity as what Chapman had to deal with. And yet, he finds himself in a world of his own compared to those competitors. Alan Cunman takes the race lead right back from Scott Zellner, and it looks like now it's going to be all Alan. And keep in mind, Cunman has not dropped lower than 4th today, and he qualified in 3rd. Racing down the back straight, the 8 of Cunman, the number 2 of Zellner, the Tom Bourne team, and the 96, still that rookie in the podium. Bourne has been the most interesting case of them all tonight. I mean, you can see he's got wrinkles on those door panels, especially on the left side. He and Scott Wheeler went at it so intense that it's a shock they didn't cause a caution, first off, and it's a shock Bourne is here as well. Bourne and Joey Chapman have had their fair shares of beating and banging moments. Scott Zellner still 2nd here. DJ Stagner, 15th up to 6th, is looking for his own redemption. DJ leads the championship standings by 21 points. He qualified 15th, even if tonight wasn't his night, and admittedly, I don't think it's going to be his to win. He could have taken it easy, and whether or not he chose to, of course, was one thing or another. But right now, it looks like DJ anyway is where he needs to be, and that is up inside the top 5 and putting it all where, oh, caution's out, yellow flag, and it's going to involve, among others, Tom Bourne. Bourne is destroyed. The 96 of Bourne, the front end is gone. And another tear down race car. Bourne missed one, trying to get down there with Jimmy McKee, and it looked like it was just fine through the opening corner. Watch what happens as they go through 2. First half of the lap looked to have come away fine, and it was between the 9 of Jimmy McKee and the 96 of Tom Bourne. Both of them collected in this one. This will bring us to less than 10 laps to go. Oh, Bourne hits the wall, collects them both. Then Bourne is shot up high again, and it's a huge hit for Tom Bourne. McKee is sent in reverse and should be able to continue. It looks like the frame is scraped, not destroyed for Jimmy. Take a ride on board now with the number 9 team. I'm interested to see what it was like from his perspective that lap. So down the back straightaway, it looked to be as clean as ever. Tom Bourne and McKee going through. This is where the problems begun. And maybe a little bit more than a kiss. And the front end really got caught. I mean, Tom Bourne got the worst of it, yes, but McKee, he gets tapped and then some. So we got some trouble brewing. And it's going to be problematic, of course, for Jimmy McKee, but he's not done. The night has only just begun, of course, for those front-running guys, but McKee is going to have to use every one of those 12 laps like there's more time available to him. The frame is not fully destroyed. That's the optimistic part. But it leaves Kunman now with Joey Chapman and Curtis Granger. Those are the drivers to look out for. They're running positions second and third behind the man Alan Kunman. The field is set to go green with less than 10 laps to go from this point onward. Got a little bit of time before we go green once again, so you won't miss a thing live on FTN as we step aside for some non-stop coverage. Alan Kunman is your leader, and you'll see him loud, live, and clear as we briefly go to our promotional partners on FTN. They make the magic happen. We'd like to thank them. We'll be right back after this. You won't miss a thing of green flag coverage, and we'll return before the drop of the green with 9 laps to go. It's Kunman, Chapman, and Granger. Your top 3 will be back after this. You're watching FTN Broadcasting in the Highline Racing League.
This message is brought to you by the rebrand of Throttle Graphics and Designs. This publication may not be reposted without the authorized written consent of Throttle Graphics and Designs. NASCAR Camping World Ford F-150. NASCAR Xfinity Ford Mustang. NASCAR Cup Series Next-Gen Ford Mustang. Arca Menards. This has been the publication of the redesign and rebranding of Throttle Graphics and Designs. This message may not be reposted, republicated, or rebroadcasted without the authorized written consent of Throttle Graphics and Designs. Thank you, and thanks for your time.
Boundless makes its presence felt. It will not be ignored. We're helping turn ideas into reality with a wealth of building products that take every architectural style to the next level. This is what it's like to imagine, build, and transform anything we want into exactly what we seek. This is what it means to be boundless.
Nine laps remain from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Welcome back to the Brickyard. This is Alan Kunman. If you haven't been with us all night long, he's your defending race winner. He got it done at Richmond last week, and he's looking to do it all over again and win today in Indy. He's looking for 2 consecutive in the championship lead with that, but he's also got his title-leading rival, DJ Stagner, in the top 10. Likewise, Scott Zellner, the man who's overcome everything, has gone from as high as second to as low as 29th, and everywhere in between today. He's not done yet, but Mr. Resilient, if anything, Joey Chapman lines up on the outside in second, and he'll get the ball rolling up top. Kunman leaves him dusted. 9 laps to go. It's restart number 6. It's Kunman on the way. Alan Kunman careening down the back. He's got the edge. It's going to be double file all the way down. And say hello to Matthew Rodriguez. Welcome back, Caleb Morrissey. The Jonestown Jet spent more than 150 miles away. He's back in action. 62 laps in. Morrissey, with coming to 8 laps to go, sees multiple of the wall. We got some trouble. Blackerby, one of the many. Ramirez swerving down to the bottom of the racetrack. And we got drivers all over the place here. 3 wide. Wheeler, Buchanan, and Zellner. Scott caught the wall as well. He's now down to lower than 15th place next time by. He falls down to Ryan Potter. Wow, big moves being made here, but in some, the wrong direction. Dawson Buchanan sees himself in the Hornet's nest. Terry Brooks smack in the middle of it. 3 wide again. Dawson Buchanan, Scott Wheeler, Terry Brooks, and Caleb Morrissey. Robert Kenny, 17th up to 8th, 9 spots higher than where he started. Take a look at this. Ooh, caution. Yellow flag's out again. We've got trouble, and it's just behind. It's going to involve Adam Bozzi, and Bozzi is destroyed. Watch this. So as Adam found himself catching up to Billman and Zellner, the trickiest moment of all came into the corners. And it was Caleb Morrissey. Oh, Morrissey was the beginning of it, and Bozzi got destroyed as a result. So Morrissey, after all that time on the up and up, gets jammed. And as it happens here, Caleb was on the high side with a shove from Dawson Buchanan. And as such, 2 drivers get side by side. Oh, Wheeler. No contact from Wheeler, but right hooked up. Morrissey from Buchanan. And the contact there is effectively race over for Bozzi. Morrissey. Justin Baxter with a nasty piece as well. 7 laps to go. Caution's out. And the hood is flapping up inside the windshield for Baxter. Does he see it that way? Yeah, that's pretty bad. Justin Baxter has no visibility, and he's trying to push it up to speed. Luckily, he is all alone, so he is nobody's safety harm. CERN. But either way, Baxter's going about 30 miles an hour under the pace down the straights, and is going to need quickly to bring it down to pit road. He's the final driver on the lead lap. Dylan Wedgwood gets himself 1 lap back. Adam Bozzi now going 1 down. He's not going to be contending for that Lucky Dog award. Justin Baxter somehow actually gaining 2 spots on that lap. He's now up to 22nd, even with 0 visibility. Well, Baxter backing it down gives him the hood flapped right in place. Less than 5 laps to go for Alan Kunman. The field set to roll out for the shortest shootout of the night. Less than 5 to go, and if there is another yellow flag, well, it's highly likely that that's going to take us into overtime. As a matter of fact, it is a guaranteeability that it will. One to green, and it'll be official this time by. Kunman drops in. Rodriguez to the high side. How about Matthew Rodriguez in the 0-1, up 10 places? He has had, by all accounts, an impressive night. Even if he hasn't been the best of the best, we saw him up there very recently, getting up into that podium mix. And to be here in second now when it matters, that's everything. Four laps to go. Where we return green. That is 10 racing miles. Curtis Granger, 28th up to 4th, is the highest position driver of all those who did not start this race with a qualifying spot. He was assigned it automatically, did not get it from anywhere else or anyone else. And as such, he's ready to go to business on his own terms. Been a hard night for him. He was in a very similar place as Scott Zellner was, in all honesty. Interesting to consider that all that time later, he now finds himself right here. iRacing official pace car is set to let them loose one more time. At lap number 67, it's all Alan Kunman yet again. Through our final restart zone. Any other after this will send us an overtime and extend the regulation racing period. We'd like not to see that, and so for our 7th run, it's Kunman. He's got Ramirez behind him. Rodriguez was beside him, but there's nobody to match to number 8 as he looks for win number 2 on the season. Curtis Granger now just behind Matthew Rodriguez. They're side by side and they're dabbling against each other in the back. DJ Stagner shot low, way low, takes it 3 wide. Here comes Stagner all over again. He'll get by Pote and he gets by Curtis Granger. The number 64 gets up to 5th. Wow. And immediately contact. Stagner is driving like this is the last lap, and you know it's for good reason, because he knows with a moment like that, everyone's racing like it's the last lap. Roberto Ramirez, and about as high as he could go, twitches up into the wall, and DJ Stagner will not take kindly to it, I'll tell you that much. Chad Winstead squeezes him, goes 3 wide. Scott Wheeler now to the inside groove with the number 64 of Stagner watching, waiting, looking for a shot on Winstead once again. Scott Wheeler just behind into the exit of turn 2, stays right on top, and he'll follow his manufacturer teammate in the Ford Mustang. All the while, DJ Stagner is alone, no teammates, but at the very same time, Alan Kunman is a lonely man. Hula Monkey Motorsport, all of a sudden, 2nd, 3rd, 4th. He's got no help, Alan Kunman. The Queen City Racing guys are too far behind. Matt Muir to the inside with 2 laps to go, takes the race lead. And Matt is looking for his first Premier Series win. Dylan Poteet has been in this position before. Dylan qualified 13th today, and now he's looking for his own. Yellow flags out. We are going to overtime. We've got Ramirez involved. The caution is out. Watch this. And so it looks like contact with Ryan Potter turns the 42 around, and Ramirez is sent in. He'll be able to get away from that one, but he will be at the back of the field as a result. Going to overtime for our one and only of the day. Only one attempt available, and now we are due to use it. Not a lot of opportunities come to this position, and yet it looks like for the last 2 weeks we have hit it again and again, which is not the best thing to see, of course, but with that said, it's all about overcoming it from this point onward. 2-lap shootout, if that, to finish it off. Dylan Poteet running second to Matt Muir is a lethal combination in the clutch. These two drivers now with the opportunity to work together as teammates to maintain the race lead. Alan Cummins had that and Adam Bozzi, but Adam ended up getting some significant damage, and you can see here he is 5 laps down, and he is very likely not stepping foot on the racetrack again for the rest of the night. As such, it leaves the 72 and the 31 in a very unique position where they are now with the track position and the speed, and I think the bigger question was the speed, mind you. They now have both attributes to space out and finish this race off the way they want to. Here we go. So the 2-lap rundown that we got ahead of us here entails the following. If this race finishes under yellow, that's going to come by any other caution from this point. We are not taking chances, hopefully anyway, because another caution before the white flag will end this race prematurely. We don't want to do that. That is, of course, the exact opposite of what we want to do here. We want to make it to the white flag and finish this race. Unlikely that we're going to do that if these drivers race as aggressive as they have. However, if we get to the white flag, it is game on until the checkered, no matter what happens here. So keeping in mind that what you're looking at right here is not game over for any driver. They still will have 1 lap entitled to them. Whether or not they choose to use it correctly is the biggest question. The white flag coming out is game over for the back of the field, very likely. But for the front of the field, what they absolutely do not want to see is a yellow flag fall. Caution is done. Everyone's done in that sense. Matt Muir and Dylan Poteet might be the luckiest men on the planet. It comes down to that. Lap number 71 out of his schedule with 70 on the day. Muir, Poteet, Cummins. Then, if there's any solace for Alan Cummins' Queen City Racing case, it's that he now has Chad Winstead up there, even if Adam Bozzi has fallen further behind. And with Adam's big damage, it comes now to Chad Winstead to step to the plate and help out the team in what could be a critical race victory. Queen City and Alan Cummins stepping up last week and showing that he's got the race-winning stuff and perhaps the championship-winning stuff. The equipment to do it, of course, that's not a question, but the driver there looks to still be in his best shape performance-wise. Now to win tonight and get by 2 teammates who are right in front of you, that is huge. And I would be hard-pressed to say that Cummins can't do it. I think it's very possible. But no matter who you are, it's just not going to be an easy task. Two laps left under green as we are due to finish it off. Matt Muir eyeing what could be his first career victory. Something that he's been waiting for years now. Matt is as close as it gets. Time is running out, and he is looking to make the checkered flag, of course, his own. Dylan Poteet alongside him. Dylan's won multiple races. Can he find that assistance? Or will Dylan Poteet choose to go for himself? Is it teammates working together, or is it every driver on their own terms? That's what we're looking to find out now, as Matt Muir leads the question and looks to get it rolling one final time. This is the do or die restart. No matter what happens, green flag is set to fly. Here we go again. 2 laps to go. It's your one and only green, white, checkered finish. Muir, Poteet, side by side. Already Alan Cutman pulls to the bottom. Trigger fingers going 3 wide. They're side by side, door to door, leaning on each other. That gives Chad Winstead a shot in the arm. 3 wide for second. Muir in the middle. He gets stuck. Poteet runs away. Contact. Cutman sliding. Saves it. Can they make it to the white flag in this condition? That's the big question. In this shape, in this state, it's all chaos. Only one driver, and Poteet is broken out. Scott Wheeler looking for his first podium in over a season. Now he's in third to Winstead second. All the while, Dylan Poteet has been gifted the race lead. He is not looking back. 1 lap to go. It's all Poteet with a half second to spare. Final lap from Indianapolis. Scott Wheeler side by side now with Chad Winstead. Looking low goes to number 60, but Wheeler's got momentum up high. Neither of these two drivers will be able to break out and get ahead of Dylan Poteet if they race against each other. No caution. Alan Cutman, though, has fallen back now to 13th, while Stagner goes for the top 5. DJ gets ahead of his championship rival. Second place is still hotly contested as Wheeler takes the runner-up spot. With half a lap and less than that to go, Dylan Poteet has proven again that he is versatile. Maybe best known for the short tracks, but when it comes to playing at the Brickyard, nobody was better tonight. The final laps are the ones that mattered, and Dylan Poteet made the green-white checkered stick at the line. Poteet, winner from season 19 and the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. 69 1/1000ths of a second. Wheeler tried to get there, and in his best finish in seasons, he just couldn't do it. Yellow flag doesn't fly. Another overtime run. Winstead takes the final podium step. Wow. Dylan Poteet, a winner at a track as small as North Wilkesboro. An intermediate style, shall we say, like Phoenix. He's done it at the 2-mile speedway in Michigan. Now a 2.5 miler in Indianapolis. Winner. Wow. Winner again. Alan Cutman coming up to celebrate with Rodriguez there too. What a win for Poteet. And now to burn it down, Poteet is a winner again. New team, same driver, and the results are as good as they've been. The 31 Caterpillar Toyota is back on top. The fight for that victory was far from simple for Dylan Poteet, and it came down again for the second straight week to the wire. Dylan wins over Scott Wheeler and Chad Winstead on the podium as Matt Muir goes for a great finish, what could have been his best ever in a win, fourth. Jimmy McKee goes fifth with DJ Stagner sixth. Seventh is Ryan Potter, and Dawson Buchanan is eighth with Sean Billman and Kenny Brooks wrapping up the top 10. 11th place is Matthew Rodriguez, and 12th is Robert Kenny with Scott Zellner, Alan Kunman, and Josh Christman making up the rest of the top 15. You'll have 16th in Toby Wedgwood, 17th in Roberto Ramirez, and 18th in Curtis Granger as Colton Gardner and Terry Brooks wrap up the top 20. Joey Chapman, Nicholas Blackerby, Justin Baxter, Caleb Morrissey, and Dylan Wedgwood wrap up the top 25 as your final drivers go as follows with Adam Bozzi, Tom Bourne, Ty Smith, Bronson Stafford, Jim Faught, and 31st man Jacob Halm, your first retiree of the night. 31 drivers. Driver number 31 wins. We'll begin with Dylan Poteet, finally making his way back up to the victory lane that he's been accustomed to at other types of tracks, but at a 2.5 miler where he qualified today in 13th. I don't know, Dylan, if you were expecting this one to go your way, but the late stages came right to you, leading 3 laps tonight, the 3 most important back to back there. Checkered flag is yours. Back in victory lane. What a way to end this one.
This might be the biggest one of the 4. I mean, this is insane. I have a lot I could say what happened on the last lap. It was a heck of a battle with Matt Muir. We wanted to just hopefully make sure one of us won the race. I mean, I really wanted it, but the caution came out and he was barely ahead of me. But that last restart, I was trying to figure out to either start behind him or beside him, and I ultimately decided to do the outside. I didn't see any scenario where I was going to actually get ahead, and honestly, I may have just timed it just perfect with him pretty much on the restart, and I think Alan may have made it 3 wide, but Chad gave me the push that honestly pushed me to the lead and ultimately the win. And I guess I got too excited and got so far out ahead, I decided just to pancake it off turn 4 and broke the wheel, had wheel damage. So I thought, well, there goes the race. I just looked like an idiot in front of everybody, God and everybody. But I just tried to break the draft. I guess they raced side by side behind me. I think it was the 97, the 60. And I just tried to break the draft. I babied in 3 and 4 with wheel damage. And if there had been one more lap, I think I would have lost. It was so tight after I hit the wall. So rode around the back all race, never was at the front, and just somehow shuffled to the front. And man, I mean, sometimes it's good to be lucky rather than great. So I didn't think I was one of the top cars. I was struggling pretty bad, and I don't know, everything kind of worked out, and just glad to be back in victory lane. I'm just super excited to win on a non-super speedway track, and to win at Indy. This is wild. I don't know if I've ever won anything here, period, in my sim racing career. It's not been a very good track, probably statistically, but definitely did not have this on my list of I'm going to go out here and win this race. But that is just awesome, and my first win for running under Hula Monkey Motorsports, and shout out to them. And man, what a race. This is insane how that ended.
You mentioned it. New team for you, Hula Monkey Motorsports, and a great showing at the end for you and Matt. So I got to ask, you think if Matt was able to stay up with you there, you think it would have been the team game played, or would it be every driver for himself?
Well, I mean, we talked about it under the caution. I mean, we wanted to both race for the win. We were going to be clean. We wanted to at least make sure one of us got it. And I guess, like I said, plans kind of changed once that restart happened. He just kind of got stuck there in the middle, and he really just didn't have a good entry. Like I said, if I didn't get the push from Chad, I had no shot at that. So shout out to Chad for the push. But if things would have been different, we would have been side by side. Like I said, I would have tried to kept it clean with them, to at least make sure it didn't take both of us out, and try to keep us good points today. We didn't want to just throw our good points away just over this. And we had to just kind of plan it out and just see who was on old tires and what. It just kind of worked out. I mean, I'm not even sure where he finished, but nonetheless, it was a great day for the team overall. And man, I can't believe I won at Indy. That's just insane. I can't believe it. It's just insane right now.
A huge win, of course, for you and your team, the Brickyard, unlike any other, in a huge way to really start the season, of course, getting some good runs in to begin with, and, of course, as a team, building, improving. A win like this is, again, unlike any other. So what do you think it's going to take now to capitalize on that momentum, of course? Maybe a chance to keep climbing up the championship ladder on the year. You're 9th in the year standings and 12th in the season standings coming in. Definitely going to rocket up higher now with this.
Yeah, I mean, I think the last time I talked to you after I won at iRacing SuperSpeedway last season, it's the same goal as then. Just have to get more consistent. It's just, even if I'm not having the best of days, I don't need to throw away even make it a worse day. I'm just needing to just try to get what I can get and just try to stay out of trouble, which that's always been an off like issue for me. And like I said, it's been chaotic and everything, but I mean, just I have to. It's just a survival game. I just need to just consistently stay up there and just bring it home in good finishes. And I'd love to be up in the battle. I think I've always hovered between like fifth, sixth to like 10th or 11th every season. So I mean, I'm hoping that we can take the next step and try to be a title contender. And this helps quite a bit. I've been in position the first 3 out of the 4 races, but for the win. Daytona didn't work out. Vegas was really close on that strategy deal and made it work today. So it's just nothing but up from here, I would say. Just got to keep it rolling. And hopefully this isn't the only time we're talking victory lane. So just wish I could virtually kiss those bricks, you know? It's just so exciting to win here. This is kind of like a home track, too, for me, technically, if, in real life, since Kentucky's not around anymore. So kind of cool to win close to the home area as well. But all in all, just awesome situation for sure. Just can't say anything else.
Dylan Pote with an amazing win for the 31 crew and Hula Monkey Motorsports. Any final shout-outs you'd like to send?
Thanks for everybody watching. Thank you for everything you do for the broadcast. Thank you, Adam, for everything he does with the Highline League and such, and what all he has to put up with on a daily basis. So, shout out to him. Thanks again to Chad for the push. Shout out to my team, Hula Monkey. We all had good races going. They had a couple of fall out because of accidents and tire strategy, but overall, I think we had a good points day, at least for the team championship aspect. So I'm not sure where it's going to end up, but we may be closing in on the top one. So hoping that works out, and just thanks for everybody else that tuned in to watch, and guess we'll see you guys for a cookie cutter race next week. It looks like. I guess this is a wild way to have a schedule swap at the last minute, and turned out to be a good one for the 31 team. And this cat car is super lucky. Just like the third time I think I've won this in 3 different mods, so, or different cars, I should say. So maybe I need to run it some more again.
And you're right about that. You brought this paint scheme back time and again, and it always seems to be successful. Dylan Pote does it again with the Gen 6 cars at Indy. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, David.
Now, this one's been a long time coming for Pote, but also for Scott Wheeler. We haven't seen too much in the podium places as of late, but he pulled through today. Wheeler, this race was chock full of close moments, aggressive racing, and eventually for you, a second place finish. You were right there coming toward the line, but just didn't happen. What was it like out there? You were able to get away from the worst of it and come away nearly with the victory.
Yeah, I don't really know how we pulled off a second place, but just ended up taking it. It was chaotic. I felt pretty good for most of the race. The tires on that first run were pretty rough. Raced pretty hard with a 96, and then I ended up coming up into him a little bit and causing some issues for myself. But yeah, it's just unfortunate. It's probably not the prettiest race that we've had as a league, so I wish it would have ended a little bit cleaner, but we'll take where we ended up.
And of course, tonight, talking about what we saw on the racing circuit, it was a lot of yellow flags that broke it up late. And one thing that was clear at the end of this one, the team game was everywhere. Now, you had some of your teammates around you, the Four Horsemen. You had Caleb up there up front early. We saw Scott Zellner and Jimmy McKee in the mix. Do you think that abundance of team work up in front helped you out, especially these high speeds?
Yeah, definitely. There were a couple of times where Jimmy helped me, helped push me past the 96, and the same with Scott. He helped push me past a couple of people as well. So having teammates to let you in line as well helps a lot at a track like Indy. On the restarts, you can make the high line work, but once the run gets going, if you don't have help, you're just going to get stuck. So it's a shame that we were all up in the top 5 at one point, and then we all had something happen. So it's too bad that we couldn't finish where we truthfully deserved as a team, but we'll keep building from it.
Now, of course, last moments, another green-white checkered finishing off this race. And one of the big things that's been the theme of these last few races is avoiding the trouble. Tonight, you got away in one piece, but you did have your fair share of trading paint and rubbing fenders. So you think there's anything in particular that kept you out of any further issues?
A little bit of luck, I would say, especially on the later restarts coming from the back. After our last pit stop, I got lucky, missing a few of the wrecks, getting low, and even on that last restart, being on the top helped a lot. I think Matt and DJ had gone 3 underneath me, so a little bit of luck, and then just being cautious at that point. I had a couple incidents, and where we've got an incident limit set in the league that'll cause a penalty if you get too much. So trying to be mindful of that. But yeah, overall just kind of lucky, but we'll take it.
And everything came in moderation tonight to get you to this point, second place. Now, the schedule swaps, which means we went racing here at Indianapolis. It might have been next week if it wasn't for this case. We're going back to the mile and a halves and the intermediate, something historically you've been strong with. Second place, best finish to this point on the year. Maybe a chance to go out there and find checkered?
I hope so. It's certainly been long enough. I like the track selection we have in the cookie cutters. I think we've already gone to Vegas. I missed that one. So Chicagoland, I think, would race pretty similarly to what Vegas was. If we went to Charlotte, I'd feel really good. So, hopefully if we do roll that, then I can get a win and get out of the rut that I've been in.
Now just one spot away from digging out of that hole, and with a great finish and, of course, that great final run in the overtime campaign. Scott Wheeler, second on the night here for the Four Horsemen. Anything else you'd like to add?
Yeah, I just want to thank my teammates. Haven't had a chance to yet since we've added Jimmy to the team. It's been a long time coming. It's good to have him on board. Scott, Caleb, as always, it's a family, really, racing with those guys every single week. I know Bloom's planning on coming in here, so we're excited to see when he gets to make his part-time appearances. But Adam, for putting everything together for the league, you guys for streaming, everybody watching. We hopefully will put on a cleaner show here in the next couple of weeks, but it's at least entertaining, I would say, when we are racing. So we'll just see how the rest of the season goes, I guess.
Scott Wheeler, just 70 thousandths off, give or take, from victory lane at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and a best finish on the year of second. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
And one more to hear from on your podium placements. That's Chad Winstead in the number 60. Let's get the man, of course, in the 60 team right with us here. Chad was able to escape that late race trouble, and it was an up and down day for the 60 crew. Qualified 10th, but it was hectic, especially in the upper mid-pack. And it looks like, Chad, you were able to escape that to find your way back to a very familiar position. Third place, returning you to the podium.
Yes, sir. Ended up being a good race. Just tried to save my stuff earlier. I mean, it was going to be, if we ran green, it was going to be a tire race for sure. Only 2 sets in the box, and the tire wear was pretty crazy in practice. So felt like I was saving my stuff pretty good, but just couldn't make any headway. And finally made the right pit call, and it put me all the way back down to 15th on the restart. But I think Scott Wheeler and I just kind of cooked through the field and made the best of it.
And we saw, of course, that final drill up through the pack. And that's the one thing that made the big difference. Yellow flag continuously stopping and starting. There were opportunities with front runners falling out of the way very quickly. So what was it when it comes to the mentality, tempering your expectations of being aggressive, because it seems like maybe being a little bit too risky was the wrong way to go? A lot of front runners who got damaged in that same way. So what did you do to moderate yourself throughout that run?
Yeah, I mean, earlier in the race, I just knew it was a long race. I mean, trying to save tire, trying to not can it. Everybody's racing super aggressive all throughout the first half, it seemed like, and I was perfectly content just riding around in 10th to 15th, honestly. But I just, when you talk about aggression and everything, and I wish some guys would tone the aggression back a little bit, because I can't tell you how many races this is now where, the last 10, 15 laps, it's just a whole lot of pacing when there's guys in the field that have made different strategy calls, or the fastest cars don't win the race. Like Allen was the fastest car all race, could have easily won it if we would just ran green, or I could have easily won it if we would have just ran green those last 20 laps. So it's just, it gets to be frustrating after a while. So the mentality is hard to not be aggressive back to some other people. So it's one of those things. It's a racing deal, but yeah, it's getting frustrating.
And of course, hoping to see some more of that green flag racing as we go back at it again for another intermediate style race next week here. So with that said, what are the expectations now to keep going on the up and up and maybe find a few places higher?
Yeah, well, it's 2 weeks in a row now. I feel like I've had a good top 5 finish with the potential to win. I definitely had a winning car. So I'm going to carry that momentum into next week and hope to be sitting up front when all the cautions happen.
Well, Chad Winstead back on the podium, third on the day from the Brickyard. Anything more you'd like to add? The floor is yours.
Yeah, just wanted to shout out my QCR teammates Alan and Adam. It's a tough race for us. Felt like we had 3 very fast cars early on, and none of us got the results we felt like we deserved. But want to give a shout out to them for persevering and being awesome teammates as always. Shout out to Poteet. Gave him a hell of a push there to go forward and get that win. So happy for him. And yeah, looking forward to next week. And shout out to the Pilot John crew on the car tonight that's watching. And we'll hopefully see you in victory lane next week.
Chad Winstead, P3 on the day, and it looks like QCR able to get a podium even with some ups and downs and back-to-back top 3s for the team. Of course, Kunman last week, and it looks like the 60 crew here tonight. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, man.
With Winstead on the way, Chad, the final of those, in third, Scott Wheeler in second, and Dylan Poteet able to come away. Your top 3 drivers. Of the 75 laps they ran, only 3 were led. Dylan Poteet accounting for all of those. How about that for Dylan Poteet? Nevertheless, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway has come and gone as a host this season, and so we'll move back on to the mile-and-a-half style racetracks, which begin next week for the cookie cutters. Until that point, I've been your host, David Croyd's commentating and producing. If you enjoyed the stream, leave a like and subscribe to the channel here at FTN Broadcasting. Our next race will be Saturday night with SNT as they continue their championship quest on the weekend tour, and we'll return next Thursday night at 9:30 p.m. Eastern with more action from the Highline Racing League. Thank you for tuning in tonight. Congratulations to Dylan Poteet on his first victory of the season, and from the virtual Indianapolis Motor Speedway and the ASC Services and Supply Premier Series, we hope you have a fantastic night.